a scorched day.
Well, welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. I say that, but in fact, I'm going to miss the next 2 Sundays. So it's not going to end as such, but it's just going to have a little bit bump. We're going to a nice, sunny place called Ireland. Yes, freezing cold. I think you're going to have another heat wave here. We're going to be freezing cold in the rain. So 2 Sundays.
When you say
not me and him. He's staying here. He's got to go to work. It's about time, really. University student.
I've just grown up and going on holidays with my parents.
Yeah, if you want to visit Matalan, in Wycombe, if you want to visit, he's in the women's underwear section. All right.
Unfortunately, he's not wrong.
No, he's not supposed to work in the women's underwear. It's just they can't get him out. Okay. Moving on. We do have a football match to discuss. In fact, I think I've watched about 8 so far this weekend. It's not that I've craved football all this time, but it does give me no. Anyway, we'll start with Wycombe Wanderers. Probably, let's get the worst over with, shall we? Yes, Everett, their manager, and did a good job on Wycombe, didn't he? In fact, Ainsworth, we're going to actually, the second subject is going to be managers' excuses. Okay, so we'll start with Ainsworth's excuses for this game. Gareth Ainsworth shoulders the brunt of this afternoon's defeat to Bolton, looking to rectify the performance this week in matches against Northampton away in the League Cup, like we all give a damn, and Shrewsbury at Adams Park on Saturday, which is a game I'm going to miss. This is what he had to say. We're in this together. It's been a long while since we've taken a 3-0 defeat like that, but we'll take it on the chin and we'll go again. If I did set up differently from the start, I don't know how that would have changed the result, but it's on me because I'm the manager. In other words, what he's saying is I did nothing wrong, but blame me anyway. Now, there was a few tweets.
Well, basically, he doesn't know what he would have done.
No, he didn't have a clue. Okay, and I don't put Ainsworth down, can I say? That's not what I'm doing, all right? This is a couple of tweets that I saw, and Ainsworth translator from what he just said was, I've got Grimmer playing centre-back and Wheeler at right-back. Round pegs, square holes. I'm playing a kid in goal. I'll take responsibility, but I have little to no other effing options. Now, I'm a bit worried about the person that wrote that calls themselves Epileptic FB, but we'll go with that. I am allowed to take the mickey, by the way. I just sort of mentioned that now. Strength, getting the most out of players that other teams would pass on. Weakness, one tactic for all situations. It leads to thrashing some and failing at others. I was at Accrington away last season and they're average like 4-inch taller, but we still tried to play hoof it over the top. And Jack wrote, I am allowed to say this because I don't tick the child's box. Bollocks, you need backing with some replacement players. Well, let's start on the Bolton side of things, shall we? I mean, that's where we start. When Wycombe win, we say how brilliant we were. And then we come to how bad the losing team is. In this, how good were Bolton? Bolton looked good. What can you say? They do look like top 6. A guy called Kyle Dempsey, who was missing at the end of last season a bit, because where did he come from? Gillingham. He was a guy that scored 2 from the midfield. I believe Gillingham run him into the ground. They wanted him on the pitch so much. He had an injury and they just kept putting him out there. So when he started for Bolton, when he first got the call up to Bolton, he wasn't brilliant because he was running on an injury that they had to stop him and get over it. He's got over it and he started, and he is going to be their key player. It is simple as that. He scored 2. Ainsworth, when doing a conference afterwards, blamed a change in the Bolton squad that he set up for one Bolton team. That wasn't what they played. They did, in fact, have their number 9. I don't know whether he's a number 9, but that's where he played. Was their 4th, what they consider to be their 4th best striker. Okay, that means they've got a squad.
Sorry, I just like the way you spelt squad.
Yeah, sorry about that. I couldn't remember. I knew how you spell squid, so I just put an O instead of a U.
No, you put an I instead of an A.
Oh, is that right? I wondered what looked wrong about it. Yeah, okay then. Yeah, but I can read it. That's the thing.
Well, that's. I mean, people normally wouldn't know, but I just brought it up because I thought it was funny.
Yeah. And we make comments about you looking like Foden. Do you think I could look like
Haaland?
Haaland, yeah, like that? What do you think?
So, I mean,
Without the glasses, obviously.
If you dyed the hair, if your eyes got a bit more wide,
if I was fitter, taller, looked completely different.
With left footers.
Yeah, and looked completely different. Yeah. I too would look just like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 17,500 people there. Not bad. Bolton should beat us. It's the honest truth. We went to Bolton and they should beat us. Okay.
Sort of.
So we take that on board, and like this person on this tweet actually made a comment saying strength, getting the most out of players that other teams would pass on. Weakness, one tactic for all situations. Is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty good, I'd say. I was talking to my mate about it yesterday, and it looks pretty evident that if this isn't a kick up the bum for the owners to do a little bit of investment into the actual team as opposed to the reserve team, then I don't know what is. Because we've definitely gotten weaker over the summer as opposed to stronger.
Yeah.
Even though we think Stockdale is rubbish, he was a goalkeeper. But apparently Dickinson was actually quite good yesterday, so it's not to knock him, but you know, he probably won't be our first team goalkeeper throughout the whole season. And then we've got, as the bloke said, Grimmer at centre back and Wheeler at right back. And Farino we think is very inconsistent. Is inconsistent the right word? Maybe. Not even sure he's good enough to begin with. He had that one game in which he was amazing.
I know somebody who writes on this thinks he's really good.
He might be, but where is he at the moment? And if we don't have more than 2 centre backs, and that's an issue in the first place. And I don't know how much Vokes ran yesterday. Hopefully, a bit more than he did last week. I think
somebody always, I think it might be the same guy, I'm not sure, who commented about, do I think Wheeler's, should stay where he is? Well, I think that answered it really yesterday. I think that answers it. I think Wheeler is similar to Liverpool's buddy boy on the bench who can play everywhere, Milner. I think he's handy for a bench because I think yesterday it showed we played a different team, Burton, last week. When we come up against a good football team, he is not in there. He is bring on if needed, and he's a good sub because he can play anywhere when needed.
Yeah.
And so he's very handy as an odd job man, if you like. And he's good enough to be that. He's good for sitting on that bench and to bring in or for injuries and the like. But no, he is not a right back.
No, not really. I mean, as you said, he can kind of do a job if we really need to, but you don't want that for the whole of the season. I mean, similarly to Grimmer, Grimmer is not a centre back. He could probably play in a back three, but in a centre back partnership, there was a couple of goals. It was definitely two of them, or maybe one, and then a load of chances. But just where Grimmer just wasn't there.
He wasn't there. The space. Well, actually, it wasn't just him. I wonder where Abita was, to be perfectly blunt with you, as well.
Yeah, you kind of saw Tafazoli just look around and just being like, where are my other defenders?
It looked like there was sort of a big, round each Wycombe player, there was a sort of a 10-yard whopping circle of freedom. They didn't sort of come together. And at some point, we'll do the new comments that you're going to hear on Match of the Day to show how clever they all are. But in front of that back four, there was nothing. They just ran down the football pitch to score those goals.
I think that happened with any team. But normally you'd have a flat back four in which you'd cover the spaces, in which there wasn't any.
No.
So you kind of assumed there was just like, oh, where's the midfield? But I don't think that was as much of a problem. If you're countering, then it's flipping difficult as a CDM for Scown and Gabe to do that.
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily blame them for that. The first goal was awful, wasn't it? It was kind of a counter-attack, and then there was a bloke left. Everyone kind of got dragged towards the ball, and there was a bloke left by himself.
What worries me was Tafazoli was the second highest rated player on here.
You can never tell.
And we let three in.
Yeah.
And yet they thought he played pretty well. And the other one was Wing, and the lowest rated player on here was Mehmeti. But it's an away game, aren't we supposed to? Is this where it's not? Maybe Mehmeti is not an away player. Isn't this where you're supposed to dig a little bit deeper?
Well, I think I said last week, attacking midfielders, there are so. I said this to someone else actually. Attacking midfielders, there is so little of them that you see in every single football match that gets played. The only one. Obviously, it's different for different leagues, but of the ones we all know of, De Bruyne, is in every game, but there are attacking midfielders which just go missing in some games.
Yeah,
and Mehmeti is similarly one of them. And I'd imagine, who was it, McCleary and somewhat Wing probably weren't really there either.
Well, Wing got the highest mark. I know this is dodgy to say this. I mean, they're suggesting that Wycombe played a 4-2-3-1, which sort of like hope not. No, away game to Bolton.
No, I mean, you've still got 6 defensive-minded players there, supposedly, with your 2 wingers who were supposedly trapped back as well. Maybe he wouldn't have wanted to have played Vokes because Hamden got injured. That might have been something.
He was missing.
Didn't play Jacobson and did play Abita.
That's right. Jacobson didn't play, and I presume he's working on the theory that was because of the speed down that side of Bolton. I presume he'd worked out beforehand that he needed somebody a bit quicker. We were playing Bolton, not Burton. I've got to get that the right way round. the other interesting thing is looking at what was on the bench. We said last week that the bench looked pretty good. Look at the bench.
We've got Horgan, DeBar, Freeman, and Mellor who came on. Then last week we had Wing come on, we had Hannon come on. We did have Mellor and Freeman come on, and then Obita. So I don't think that's too. But this is the problem: is that you have injuries all the sodding time, and we've lost players rather than gain them over the summer. And we were saying how our squad depth had been okay last season.
Yeah.
And we kind of lost that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't really know about the Mellor bloke yet. Horgan off the bench, we've never really seen before. But we're now lacking a little bit of depth, which we did have. I don't know where. Who's the other? Kai. Don't know where he is at the moment.
No.
Thompson, we don't know where he is at the moment. And as much as we have opinions about whether those players are good enough to play on our team, at the end of the day, it is depth of player who would normally get in the team.
Yeah, so we've definitely got a lack of players around.
And we don't have a second goalkeeper at the minute if Dickinson is going to be our number one. We're assuming he's not going to be, because Ainsworth did say that he had someone lined up. And for once, he did actually say that, as opposed to we're guessing. He did actually say we have someone.
Yeah.
So, worrying. He does need to sign some people. And it's a classic, football fan thing to say, oh, we need to sign some players, otherwise that's every Man United fan's kind of go-to, is we need to sign some players. We legitimately need to sign some players because we've lost them and not replaced them. So, slightly worrying, as we said.
Yeah, it's slightly worrying.
At home, I'm a lot more confident. Away from home.
So we got Northampton during the week, League Cup. Not fussed about that. Do what you like. Completely uninterested. Shrewsbury then Saturday. I guess that's where we really find out where we are, because, well, Shrewsbury have played 2, drawn 1, lost 1.
It doesn't go down very well if you lose pretty significantly at home, does it?
That's right.
And if you lose by 2 or more at home, then it's worrying.
Well, Shrewsbury can't score either.
They played 2 games.
Yeah. But that should really give us a bit more of a clue, Shrewsbury, I think. I think if they're not, I think they're halfway or lower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the moment, Shrewsbury drew with Morecambe away and they lost 1-0 to Accrington at home. So I think that one, it really is going to tell us one way or the other who we are this year. Before we get into the next topic of managers' excuses, the thing worth having a quick look at is how everybody else got on in our league. Now, I thought yesterday was again quite interesting. We'll go down in alphabetical order. Burton 0, Bristol Rovers 4. Well, that tells us about our great 3-0 win against Burton. It was no big deal, is the honest truth. If Bristol Rovers turn up and whop them 4-0 when Bristol Rovers are away, that is suggesting, I think, Burton, unless they deal with something, they might be down. I'm going to take a wild guess and say Burton's manager wants to start looking to see about other jobs. Is there anything going at Matalan?
No, our manager's just left, so yeah, I suppose. So.
Right. So they're in trouble, I think. But I know they've only played 2 games, but you don't concede 7 goals in 2 games unless you've got a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Must stop saying Charlton won, Derby 0. That brought a smile to my face. Of course it did. Too much has been said. But don't need to say anything else. Exeter 4, Port Vale 0. Another 4-0. A few goals. I haven't watched the football channel. It's on channel 5, by the way.
I can't remember.
So yeah, no need to be able to pick that other ridiculous one up now. You can watch it at 9 o'clock on a Saturday. You don't have to watch Alan Shearer for football now. You can.
You could before.
Yeah, all right. Fleetwood 2, Plymouth 1. Interesting, because Plymouth have always under themselves. Big club. They are a big club. They do take a lot of cash. Now, they're a big club. A lot of fans.
Yeah, but there's a lot of big clubs, so I don't think they are.
But not playing Fleetwood. Forest Green 1, Ipswich 2. Doesn't come as any shock. Now, this one, again, we will repeat. MK Dons 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. MK Dons, everybody. Those predicting Division 1 they were just talking about last year. MK Dons have now lost both games.
You said that Sheffield Wednesday was going to go up as well.
They 1-0. They won.
Well, exactly. So you can't blame MK Dons for losing if they lost to a team that's going to go up.
All right, my fault.
It's not to suggest that they won't, but that's like they could be a top of the table clash.
You're true. Oxford scraped it, buggers, to Cambridge. They scored in the 93rd minute at home to win 1-0. And looking at the stats, I think they were lucky. Just above in the expected goal difference, just above in the shots, just above in the accurate passes, just above in fouls committed. So they just scraped it really, and then they scored in the 93rd minute. Peterborough 3, Morecambe 0. I think Peterborough look a good bet this year if you want to put some money down. And Portsmouth 0, Lincoln 0. I think Portsmouth have come to an end, really. They've had their payments, they've had their money. They're now an ordinary Division 1 club, but they do get more crowd than everybody.
They're a big team then.
Well, that's the only thing they've got going for them now, because I don't think they are anymore a big team in this league. I don't think they've got anything more than anybody else. I don't think their players are better than everybody else's.
Yeah.
They lost that when they lost the playoffs. They're now an ordinary club who should just be able to pick the better players because of the size of. And Accrington beat Shrewsbury 1-0 at Shrewsbury. We will find out how good we are at home when we play Shrewsbury. If we don't win that one, then I think we've got a few worries. I think playoffs we can say goodbye to, really. That will give us a bit more of a clue. Is there anything you would like to say about what? Anything that I've said?
Rob, get your wallet out, please.
Isn't that what they all say?
That's what I said before.
Yeah. Okay, managers' excuses. I like this one. I think this is funny. So what do managers blame everything on? Have a go, Kieran. Have a go.
just to say, did you see the statistics about how many time managers blame other things?
I've seen
You've
this.
seen the stats.
Where did you get them from?
I saw it on Twitter.
Okay.
So you've seen the Klopp is actually quite low.
Yes.
So I demand. Well, Klopp's excuse this weekend was
Well, it depends what you mean by low.
12.
12.
That's not bad, I don't think, considering.
Yeah, all right.
He did say this weekend about a dry pitch.
Yeah, dry
He
pitch.
didn't necessarily blame the
So
dry pitch. He just said
the reason they
there
didn't
a
win
dry
was
pitch.
the pitch was
No,
dry.
I've taken it a little bit out of context. The way he said it, he just said, no, on a dry pitch. He didn't necessarily blame the dry pitch. He still said Liverpool were crap. So the pitch being wet or dry, injuries, I'd imagine they blame. The crowd, maybe. The wind, probably. Snow.
Right. Well, here we go. Let's start from the top. Who is the most moaning, boring manager? What happens when the game finishes and the Mr. Microphone goes running up to Mr. Manager and says, "Okay, why did your team lose?" He's got to come up with something. And I read a piece about what Klopp does. And Klopp gives about 8 interviews, in fact, straight after a game. And the first ones are German interviews to German newspapers and radios. And he goes into great detail on tactics and what went right and what went wrong. And he goes into an awful lot of detail. He doesn't do that with our press. He thinks Mr. Englishman is an idiot and doesn't want to hear. He thinks we're not fussed whether so-and-so is better with his left foot than his right, whether the XG rating on this side is better than that side, whether this defender is a better header than the guy running up that side. And that makes a difference because whether the blocking, the pass, he doesn't think we're interested. All he wants to go up to the press and say their team are really good and it's the referee's fault. Now, that isn't necessarily what he even thinks. It's just he has to blurt something out. And so he blurts the easiest thing out that he thinks we're all going to take, and he then gets himself a bit of a reputation, even though he's not the most moaning manager. Mr. Moaner is Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel?
That's cool.
Tuchel. His blame percentage is 57.9%. He blames others 57.9% of draws or losses. So it's got nothing to do with him. It's got nothing to do with him. He's clean. Most of it, he's got it dead right. It's their fault. Coming in a close second is Mikel Arteta with Arsenal at 55.5%. Then this is last year, I just might add, which is why Daniel Farke turns up for Norwich at 54.5. Now we can see it's people, not teams, straight off, because Dean Smith comes in at 4 with both Aston Villa and Norwich at 48.4. And 5th was Rafa Benitez at Everton, close by Frank Lampard at Everton. Now, as we go down that list, we start looking for I think, what rather interesting ones was certainly Sean Dyche with his job on the line, moaning, saying it's got nothing to do with me, it's their fault, at 40.7. Of course, when you get to teams like Liverpool and City, they don't lose or draw many, but it's how the percentage of draws or losses, how many of those are blamed on somebody else. Now, Ainsworth takes the lot. It's entirely my fault. Why? Don't know. Just is. I'm the manager. Now, is that really taking a blame? I doubt. He does always say how brilliant and proud he is of the players. That goes to show it's a case of you stand there, you lose a game, and it's right. What did you think? Quick, tell me. Players were excellent. Really proud of the players. It's my fault. It's got nothing to do with anything.
At the end of the day, I don't think the managers are too arsed.
No, nor do I. And
they don't want to.
Do you know what the worrying thing is? They're going to start interviewing them at half time as well.
Yeah, that's dumb.
We're going to get interviews at half time. The manager shouldn't be interviewing at half time. It's not a rule yet, but they have been asked to partake. And I mean,
they're not going to do it.
Oh, please, do we really want that? I mean, it's bad enough having match of the day listening to the Wallies at the end. I mean, no, I won't say that. Moving on then, and we go down to the bottom of the table. And would you believe Leeds actually moaned less than anybody? And yet I would have said they had most reason to blame. Why do you think Leeds would have something else to blame? Think about last year. What could they have blamed other than the way they play? I would say injuries.
Oh, barely. Well, I suppose you would do for Bamford for a bit, but then you can't use it every time. And they did draw and lose a lot.
Coming in at 28th was Leeds. So Marsh followed by Bielsa.
Bielsa would blame himself.
12 and 13%. That's all, compared with the 57.5 of Mr. Chelsea.
Conte surprises me.
Yeah, Thomas Frank came in at 14.8, and then Conte with Tottenham hardly ever blames anybody bar himself at 15.4. And so up that table we go, and then you get into the Manchester United's coming in at 19. At 25%, and City at 16%. I suppose because City sort of an excuse in that he's hardly ever got to blame them anyway. So just for once, when they do lose, they don't really have an excuse,
I'll say at the end of the day, if they don't win, it's their own fault.
Yeah, you can hardly say I don't have enough players, can you? Really? So Klopp has basically got an unearned reputation. It's why people have picked him out. I don't know. So with the top six coming in last is Chelsea coming in.
No, I see.
All right, first, the biggest moaner, Chelsea, followed by Arsenal, followed by United, followed by Liverpool, City, then Ollie at United, and then Tottenham and Tottenham. So, Chelsea, sort yourself out because you bore us silly. Okay. Who blames the ref then? I'll quickly finish this bit. Let's have a look how often people blame the ref. I'm going to try and put this up. So if we have a look, out of all the occasions the referee has been blamed, the referee, as you see, we're talking about something like how often people have blamed things this season. And out of all of them, you can see the referee's been blamed 67 times for a team losing. Players have been blamed 37 times. So you point a finger at your own players and say, your fault, not mine. Injuries, followed by other. I don't know what other means. Could be anything. Dry pitches, for instance. I love this one. Luck comes in with 12. I presume they mean bad luck, but there you go. COVID-19 comes in 7, and I'm hoping that goes down shortly because I'm really fed up with that one from everybody. It doesn't matter who you phone to get an insurance even. It's sorry, we don't have time. We've got COVID here. And you're thinking, Really? Even, phone a dentist, phone an appointment, phone anything, and it's COVID's fault, which I don't really, potholes, that's COVID that's caused the potholes. Right. So players get it in the neck, COVID get it. So, and also just to mention, most complaints come in the winter, which is interesting, I think. So it's all down to the winter is when all the managers moan at everybody else. Okay, so across the 21-22 season, there were 163 excuses. And on that podium was Mikel Arteta's Southampton 1, Arsenal 0.
Well, explain what the podium is.
All right.
As in the 3 best excuses.
Yeah, the 3 best excuses. Coming in third, Mikel Arteta, Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. We'd have won if it was basketball. Coming in close second was Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool 1, Tottenham 1. Tottenham played too defensively. They did not let us score. Wasn't fair. And at number 1, Graham Potter, Brighton 0, Norwich 0. Our fans telling us to shoot was distracting.
I actually probably get what he means, to be honest with you.
You find it when you're playing 6-a-side, do you? Somebody says, shoot!
Well, yeah.
Because then it's their fault you don't score.
Because if you're in Sunday League, I know they're obviously not Sunday League, if you're 25 yards out, you're probably going to shoot. You're not going to pass it. And you probably have that inclination if you're a professional footballer, just to shoot. So I'd imagine the fans just shouting shoot probably isn't actually that helpful if they're not very good at it compared to other things.
Okay.
I can understand what it means.
Kieran gets it. And was the pitch? And I suppose when you play 6-a-side, the pitch is dry.
Completely.
Yeah, concrete. Yeah. Right, let's move on then. Next, I've got to find it. That's the trouble. Ah, yes, there it is in there. Kieran's gonna have a quiz time. It's Kieran's quiz time. Kieran's quiz time. I don't know where the answers are, so I'm hoping you know what the answers are. Oh, there it is. Okay, now we're going to do it. We're going to start a nice, easy one for Kieran this week. We're going to do it on Steven Gerrard. Right. Still hasn't stopped. They will. There we go. Right. Are you ready? I'm not going to give you the 3 choices. Yeah. Where was Gerrard born?
What, other than Liverpool?
Yeah, county. Or, area. Middlesex, Midlothian, Merseyside.
Merseyside.
Do I need to look these up?
No.
Okay. How old was he when he was born? No. How old was he when he joined the Liverpool Academy?
6?
9.
These are barely questions that are relevant at all.
Relevant?
What age do you start?
It's relevant to him. How old was he when he made his first team debut?
18.
How old? Yeah, that's right. I'll only say if you get it wrong, all right? How old was he when he was made captain?
20. Either 3 or 4. 23.
That's right. 23. How many appearances did he make in total for the club? I'll let you in within sort of, 50.
700.
Yeah, I'll let you have that. It was 710. How many times did Gerrard captain Liverpool? Do you want the 3? And then...
Yeah.
413, 443, 473.
43.
473.
Mm.
Yeah. How many times did he win Liverpool Player of the Season award? Is that all? That was a bit nasty.
3.
4. Which club did he move to after Liverpool?
Oh, there you go. So,
It was. How many England caps did he win?
120.
Not quite, 114. And what is the first team he managed?
The Liverpool under-18s not count.
No,
Rangers.
Rangers it was. Okay, well, I don't know how you all did out there, but next time we'll do it on the in the Football League to give everybody else a chance. Did you beat him? I'd love it if you did. Send in saying you know more about Gerard than he
Yeah, but
does.
they'll just lie, won't they? Because if Paul comes in and says he's got 10 out of 10, and I know he hasn't.
Oh, you never know. You never know. It could be down to luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. Okay. Next then. Football streaming. Now, this is a little one we can have a little chat about because football streaming, of course, started a couple of years ago when COVID turned up in our division and they sort of said, you know, you could buy all your own tickets for a tenner. And if you bought a season ticket, then you get it anyway for free. So we all sat home watching Wycombe play on TV. Great. Well, the trouble was it didn't stop. It's carried on. And now, so when Wycombe play at home or away or whatever, you can actually buy a ticket if it's on Saturday, 3:00, if you live in a foreign land. I'm afraid I don't know about whether, well, I presume anywhere foreign. I presume Southern Ireland you could. But that's a point, going there on holiday. I wonder if I can watch Wycombe.
Probably.
Anyway, yeah, so this was the idea. And to make it able to carry on and keep interest, snag is that Premier League already do all this. They sell the whole package to, you know, and they sell it off to BT Sport and they sell it off to, as you all know how the Premier League works. Championship also sell a lot of their stuff off to these people, so they all get an income plus a little extra if it's their games on, but they all get money coming in. What happens when we hit Division 1? Here is your problem. It doesn't go on Sky TV. And a lot of the teams now, or a few, have done what Wycombe have done and bought a TV, so Wycombe TV, whatever, to try and help themselves. They're allowed, as a Wycombe fan, you are allowed to buy and watch for £10 any game that isn't on a Saturday at 3:00. That means we can watch all the Tuesday games. We can watch any bank holiday games, Boxing Day, etc., New Year's Day. But also this year, we're allowed to watch any game between November and December because of the World Cup. It's something like about we can watch 17 or 18 Wycombe games this season for 10 quid. I think it actually works out more expensive to watch, to see these games on watching it on TV than it does to get a season ticket. But you can sit at home and watch it. Now, this was voted for by all the League One football clubs. They all sat round a table and said, "What shall we allow this?" And they all said yes. Problem is where does the money go? Now, you think that when Wycombe play, we'll make it up, Wycombe versus, I'll pick a big team, Ipswich. Wycombe versus Ipswich on a Tuesday night. This means there are 5,000 Wycombe fans who choose to watch Wycombe versus Ipswich on a Tuesday night. Had we played Ipswich, then Ipswich would bring 2,500, 3,000 fans. Wycombe get that money, or some of it, a lot of it, and then give a little bit to Ipswich. So Wycombe make the money. They make the money out of the drinks, the food, and the ticket prices, because they're coming in to Wycombe stand. This time, on this TV deal thing, Wycombe don't get the money. Wycombe will only get the money for the £10 that the Wycombe fans buy. When Ipswich fans buy their TV £10, Ipswich get it. Now you can see the problem, that Wycombe are losing a lot of money when we play big teams and we play at home. We are not getting that money. Therefore, all the big teams love it, because even away games, they're getting the money. And not only are they sending 2,000 to the away game and only picking up a tiny amount, they're now selling 10,000 and keeping all the money for themselves. So they're better off on a Tuesday night watching it on TV, any away game. All the away games they'd love on a Tuesday night, because they'll get a ton more money and Wycombe will lose out. Accrington are going to lose a ton of money because of this. And you can see the problem.
They've all agreed to it.
It's a majority. That's the problem. And of course, the majority include Plymouth, Portsmouth, Ipswich. All the big clubs are going for this. All the little clubs don't want it. Not like this. They're happy for it to be on TV, but to share the money. And it's like everything, isn't it? When whoever going to make the money never wants to share it. So when it's little League One against the big Premier League, we're all together and we'll fight the Premier League. But as soon as it comes to big Portsmouth and little Accrington, suddenly there's a whopping gap about not sharing. We want it. You think of the difference this is going to be. And fairly shortly, it won't be long until Saturday 3 o'clocks are in there as well. It really won't be long.
The rich get richer.
Yeah, they've only got to vote for it. So what happens to Wycombe?
Go bust. No more Wycombe. No more of this show.
It's wrong though, isn't it? Is that wrong? Because they've always said in the Premier League, the big clubs have said, why should we, it's our money, why should we give it to anybody else?
I'd imagine still though that the majority, it won't affect the majority of fans. You might, I reckon, probably 4/5, if they were to go on a Tuesday night, will still go, and you'll have a 5th in which you lose out on. But you may well make that back from the away games you have. It is a little bit depends on how many away games each team has. It's a little bit unfair for those who have all home games on a Tuesday.
But it will come in, won't it? It will come in on Saturday 3 o'clock eventually. What we're saying is Wycombe, when they have a home game on Tuesdays, etc., and on Boxing Day, they want to play little teams, not big teams.
I think it'll matter a heck of a lot less on a Saturday than it will on any other day of the week, because it's when people will actually go to things as opposed to stay at home. I absolutely see what you mean, but I'm not sure it's a huge problem.
I think clubs like Cambridge, Accrington, and in the Division 2, Newport and Stevenage.
I think it seems like the ones I'm reading out from my tablet here.
Well, you've got, I mean, in the people that have pushed this through are Ipswich, Plymouth, Bolton, have all pushed for this, and they're all quite happy with the way the money goes. And I'm not. I think we've got to change this, and quick, before it makes a difference to the small clubs. That I just think that we've got a big enough problem in the Championship going up to the Premier League.
Yeah.
What we don't want is a League One where you have the big six. It's big enough six as it is. We don't want to make it any bigger. We want a competition.
I'd still say it is. You still had Wycombe get into it last season. I know we're normally quite a anomaly, but
I think this is not good. I don't think it's good. I think we've got to stop that, and we've got to stop it before it happens. I think it's dangerous.
But you're not going to stop it.
Well, I hope. I don't know where Wycombe stand on this. And I don't know how Wycombe TV stand on this. I mean, are Wycombe TV, have they got the whole copyright on our football pitch, and therefore do Wycombe TV sell? I presume they can't. I presume when any team come, let's say Bolton, come to Wycombe, I presume they have a right to film it as well. But we shall see. Well, that's that. Football streaming, it could separate Division 1 like it separated the Premier League into putting in a big six because of the crowd. And I think got to stop it now.
And I'm not convinced.
And you're not convinced. Have your say. Have your say. How long have we been going?
An hour.
Is it really? Right. Let's quickly just tell you about the music. Got to tell you about the music. Last Flight to Pluto is the name of the band. Hopefully I would have got about 3 tracks around different places. Bought this album just to come out a month or 2 ago. Welsh band. 2 people in the band, the female singer and the drummer are the 2. They use other people just to fill in. Love it. Of course I love it. It is prog rock. I think she's got an excellent voice, definitely slightly different, which is what I like. Hope you like it too. So I'll repeat that. Last Flight to Pluto, Welsh band. Look them up. Just to say that the drummer looks about 95 and she looks about 18. Still. Premier League. Watched about 6 of these games this weekend. Won't go into reasons why. Where do you want to start? First one, Friday. Who played Friday?
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Beat Crystal Palace 2-0.
Yeah.
Pretty good, actually, because it's normally a bit of a banana slip Crystal Palace. So
Yeah.
Good
And I
to-
thought
good to
they
get
were
it.
going to be, actually. I thought Arsenal got away with that a bit.
well, it's good to get out of the way. Apparently they played all right, so that's good.
Yeah. Both had the same amount of shots, same amount of big chances. Same amount of offsides, roughly the same amount of corners. It was fairly equal, actually. The difference was Arsenal put them away, and that's the difference, isn't it? But I thought Arsenal did well with that. That was definitely a dodgy one for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I bet they're glad they got that one out of the way, actually.
Liverpool then drew 2 with Fulham. We were rubbish. Fine.
Lucky
if
to get away with that point.
A little bit. Nearly took all 3 at the end when Henderson hit the bar. I suppose it's little moments like Diaz hit the post, Henderson hit the bar. But in general, we were rubbish, and that's fine.
If you can get points off of a rubbish game.
If you're going to, I mean, obviously can't let that happen too often, but if that's your rubbish game for the next 2 months, then it's fine.
And let's be honest, Fulham, first game at Fulham, is a bit of a bugger, really. That isn't one you want. If you wanted one of the 3 teams that came up, you did not want Fulham.
No. So, is what it is.
How many is Mitrovic going to score this year?
15, I reckon.
He always failed previously. Why has he failed?
It's been rubbish.
Right. Let's go into detail, shall we?
What's your detail then?
Well, I was going to say I think he hasn't been coached. I think he's turned up from the Championship expecting the same, and I think he's been bossed around a bit, and I think he needs to change his game slightly to be in better positions when starting.
I don't think it's helps that Fulham have always been rubbish as a team in general before, and they've never given him too much chance. But they look alright this time. But in saying that, I can't really tell it was against a crap Liverpool team.
Okay, the next one was a bit of a shock. Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 0. That came as a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting Bournemouth to win.
Could be somewhat similar to the Fulham one. His first game.
It wasn't an at Bournemouth
against a promoted team. Could just be that.
But I was expecting Aston Villa near the top this time. Some of their players are pretty neat, aren't they?
I do hope they are. Just for Stevie's sake.
Stevie, he's your mate, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, Coutinho, Ings, Kamara, Ramsey, McGinn. I mean, there's a lot of these.
I watched a bit of it, and Ings is not very good, in my opinion. I used to think he was, but he doesn't do it for me anymore.
Right.
Leeds beat Wolves 2-1.
Yeah, that was one of the games I didn't see.
No.
Yeah.
Really good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Wolves will be fine. So will Leeds, I'd imagine. Although Leeds haven't replaced many of their players.
No. Wolves.
Wolves will be fine.
Really?
They've got a decent enough bunch of players. Newcastle beat Forest at home. Yeah, that's expected.
Yeah, I just want to say about Newcastle. I should stop doing that. One little thing, and that is their kit. I am going to say about this. Have a look at Newcastle's third kit. They've basically brought out their owner's country flag as their top, with the name right across the middle. It's wrong. Can I just say? I
don't think it's wrong. I just don't think it's very good.
You're going to have Newcastle fans all standing up there wearing the flag of that country who they said it wasn't. And I think that's awful. can I just say, it's like standing there with a Union Jack T-shirt on, for what it's worth, and saying, no, it's got nothing to do with the United Kingdom or whatever. I think rubbish. I think it's a bit second-rate, Newcastle. I hope you're proud of yourself. Tottenham 4, Southampton 1. Southampton. Yeah. Have a look at the flag.
Where?
No, have a look at their flag.
Yeah, I know, but it's just green and white.
So's the flag. You telling me they picked those colours and it had nothing to do with the flag?
Oh, I completely understand that.
That's their flag.
But I consider that can just be some sort of inspiration for colour, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
I don't.
Inspiration for colour.
I thought when you said it was literally the flag. It's not. It's just white and green. White with green writing.
All right. Okay.
I don't think it's horrendous.
Right.
I can understand that it will be inspired by their flag.
Well, when they score and they take their top off. Right. Tottenham 4, Southampton 1. Tottenham look good. Southampton look like they've just finished last season with no change.
No.
Didn't they lose the last 7 matches last season?
They weren't great, were they?
They looked shocking. And a game I watched, Everton 0, Chelsea 1. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear.
Apparently Chelsea were good defensively, but nothing else really.
Neither were going to ever score a goal until one Dumbo defender brought somebody down stupidly. There was no big deal. It was a dull thing to do, and it was the only way Chelsea were ever going to score a goal. Well, that there was ever going to be a goal in it. There was one interesting part. Now, who's the guy that takes the
Jorginho.
Yeah, he does that ridiculous little step.
He didn't
jump. He didn't do it this time. I presume he's missed for the last couple of goals.
No, sometimes he does that because they assume he's going to do it and he just doesn't.
Right. Well, he didn't do it this time.
Puts him off a bit.
Okay. And then we've got. I'm not going into that. I'm going into today. Today, Leicester 2, Brentford 2. Well done, Brentford. I think, mind you were only playing Leicester. It's the honest truth. I think Leicester is one of those dodgy ones this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. United 1, Brighton 2. Let's not all be surprised. Brighton are good. They look good. United look crap. They were crap.
Thank goodness.
2 players that stood out for me as being crap was Rashford. Don't know what he was doing, and Sancho I thought was shocking.
Apparently Fred's been very good either.
Well, picking out a good player was difficult, but Sancho, my goodness. Oh dear. And talking about managers' excuses, well, what can he say? I manage Manchester United. He's good enough for us.
I think he knows they're crap.
Yeah, he's had it. Top 4. Right, West Ham 0, City 2. West Ham, what were you doing? They set up ready to lose in the first half, and sure enough, they lost. You stick 11 players on the 6-yard line, and you take it.
They did the interview with Haaland after the game, and they asked him about a chance he missed, and he said, "Yeah, it's a bit shit to be honest." The interviewer said, "What's the language, Haaland? You can't say that here." And Haaland went, "Oh shit, sorry."
Good.
In the Sky Sports interview that is done live,
excellent.
He swears twice in a matter of
so
seconds.
That could be a real bonus. It means they won't bother with the interviews.
No.
Okay, that's this weekend's Barca. Just got to finish with one thing with Barca. That is, I spoke about 2 Leavers, calling them Leavers United last week. If you want to look up that it's still buzzing away. It's worth noting that that they've now put in Lever 4, and if you want to know what the Lever 3 and 4 is, it's selling their studios where they do all their, well, obviously what they do, really, all their TV stuff, studios, and they're selling most of that off, and that was in Lever 3 and now Lever 4, and still at the moment they cannot play any of the players they've bought. They can't register any of them. They're not being allowed yet. They haven't sold enough players off. And you know that player that was going to go to Man United, guess where he might be going? Chelsea, yes. Does make you laugh, really. And they'll be swapping him for a couple of players. And Barca are still picking up these players that they cannot play. It is mad. And other teams are getting a little bit annoyed. And just to say that what's strange is they're still asking some of their players to take a cut, even though they took a cut in wages last year. And they're saying, look, can we cut your wages again this year? And they owe, is it 17 million to this bloke that they're not going to pay him if he were to move on. They owe him 17 million. If anybody owed me 17 million, I wouldn't be very happy. I'd want my money, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind it.
And so with that, we'll say goodbye. And remember, it's last flight to Pluto. Feel like going there myself, but we're not. We're going to Ireland. So it's going to be a couple of weeks, I'm afraid. Wycombe should be at the top of the table by then. Should have played 2 games, so we should have another 6 points and be in the next round of the League Cup. Don't do this. Okay. Right, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Kieran, say goodbye. Right. And I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.
We are the children who